Well, Amanda Hansen back here at the Action News 5 digital desk. Like they were talking about, we're now in 2023, a new year, and I want to bring in commercial appeal food reporter Jennifer Chandler joining us today because, Jennifer, I know you obviously huge food person. You're the person I want to go to if I'm saying, hey, where's a good place to go if I want to get amazing Asian food or whatever. You know the place in town. And you put together a story about your 5 top eats for 2022. I don't even know how you did that. How are you doing this morning, by the way?
I'm doing good. Happy New Year.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, this is a story I do at the end of every year, and it is probably one of the most fun stories I get to write, but also one of the hardest because I have to narrow it down to 5, where I can tell you I've eaten so many good things throughout the year. But here's what I did to kind of help myself narrow it down. My rule is that it has to be something that I tried for the very first time in the year.
Okay.
So that really
helps a little bit.
That really helps narrow it down a little bit. And then also it helps me, and I try to also find things that are affordable. So I try to stay anything less than $25 so that everyone can go out and try those. So I'm not trying to do something that's, fancy, that's, over the top, that I paid $50 for a dish. Instead, I'm looking for things that somebody can go out and get for $10, $15. So those are kind of the parameters I gave myself when I'm doing this list. And I also really focus on only writing about people that are Memphis-owned businesses. So no chains are ever included in this list, even though I've eaten some good food at chains. But that's how I kind of curated my list here.
Well, let's
get started.
Let's roll out. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. The first one is the Good Fortune Company. They have the best chicken wings I've ever eaten in my entire life. And I have to tell you, there is a picture of me eating them. They're called the GFC wings, and these are not your normal wings. And I have to admit, I love a good chicken wing, but I usually only eat them like at the Super Bowl or if I'm watching a football game or something like that. And but every time I go to Good Fortune Company, I order these, and I joke that I think they should be called finger looking good chicken because KFC can't hold a candle to these things. They are made with so much love. They are marinated. They are then fried once, and it's actually their whole batter that they use is gluten-free. It uses multiple flours. They're fried once, then they sit, and then they're fried a second time right before serving, so that makes them extra crispy. Ooh. And the sauce is actually, this is very funny, it is a vegan sauce. It's like a honey Szechuan sauce that's got a little bit of sweet, a little bit of heat, but not too much. And one of the reasons they made it vegan is because so many people love this sauce, they decided to do a version with tofu for vegetarians. So if you like chicken, get the GFC wings. If you're a vegetarian, but you love the flavors of, hot wings, get the ones made with tofu. Equally, they're a little different, but equally as delicious. So Good Fortune Company chicken wings.
Hey, I want to ask though, what is this beverage that you have here? It looks delicious and it looks different. So I want to hear more about that too.
Well, yeah, so one of the things I love about Good Fortune Company, I mean, it is a tiny little place downtown on South Main, but they make everything from scratch. And as I said, they give all that love just to making a chicken wing. They make all their dumplings from scratch, all the noodles for their ramen bowls, noodle bowls from scratch. And they also have a very, very creative bar. And so that one is a matcha cocktail that I believe had whiskey in it. Ooh. And it was really tasty. And I love that little glassware. It's served like a little glass milk carton.
Right,
Isn't that
I love
hysterical?
That.
But
That's
it was
great.
really tasty. So it's always fun to go, and I always have a great time at Good Fortune Company. It's a neat little restaurant downtown if you haven't been. It's been open maybe 2 years, maybe 3.
Oh, wow.
And our 2 are Lighton and Sarah Kai are the 2 owners, and they just really do a great job there.
Man, so they opened during the pandemic, it sounds like. Wow.
It was right, I believe it was right before. I mean, like literally right before. They were one of those restaurants that had been open maybe a month.
Okay. Well, hey, I mean, I've heard really good things, and obviously they're thriving and doing really well, so I love to hear that. But okay, so let's get back to this list. I know I got a little sidetracked there. So what's
Yeah.
next?
Well, the next one on my list is I'm going to do the wedge salad at Gray's Fine Cheeses. Okay, I know you're saying salad, but look at the salad. That is not your ordinary salad. So Gray's Fine Cheeses is over in East Memphis off Mendenhall, and it is a cheese shop that also is a wine bar. And one of the things that I love to do there is go get one of their charcuterie and cheese plates and a glass of wine. And then I feel like I need to have something a little healthy. So I ordered this wedge salad, which of course is covered with Benton's bacon, a homemade blue cheese dressing. It has pickled red onions. You can see that's everything bagel seasoning over the top.
That's the best.
They actually even roast and olive oil cure the cherry tomatoes that go in there. Again, just somebody taking extra steps to really elevate something that we all know and love into something really, really special. And I have to tell you, I think this is my favorite version of a wedge salad, not that I've just had in Memphis, that I have had anywhere, anytime. It is really over the top, and you can see it's huge. It can feed two. Because as I said, what I normally do is get the charcuterie and cheese plate and we kind of split and share.
Right. And see, when I was first looking at your list, and I was like, wait, a wedge salad? And then I start reading the details, and you look at it here, and I mean, the bacon, I mean, it's loaded with bacon. I'm a girl that loves some blue cheese. And then those pickled onions. Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not just every bacon and any day bacon. It's Benton's bacon, you know, from East Tennessee, which is this really just wonderful, smoky bacon that is just, it's heaven. Really good on that salad.
Yeah, it looks delicious. It makes me want to go get one. So you sold me.
Okay, so next on my list, okay, this one may not look as pretty, but I have to tell you, oh my gosh, it's so simply good. Andrew Michael Italian Kitchen has a blue crab top focaccia. So, as I said, the picture doesn't do this dish justice. So Andrew Michael makes their focaccia in-house, and it is really, really a well done piece of bread. And so what they do for this dish is they toast it. And the chef there, the chef de cuisine there, he is originally from New Orleans. And so what he did is he kind of did a play on kind of like crab au gratin that you get in New Orleans restaurants. That is kind of like crab that's mixed with white wine and heavy cream and simmered down, and it's like warm and it's rich and it's just so good. Well, he puts that over the top of this piece of butter toasted focaccia, and then he takes a paper thin slice of manchego cheese and lays it across the top and puts it under the broiler. So you get this kind of like, at the end you can see where the cheese is kind of like, you know, almost like browned a little bit. So you get this kind of like creamy, crispy cheese thing going on. And then underneath all that is the crab that is just like so rich and so divine. I have to tell you, this is one of those dishes you probably do want to share because it is so over the top rich, but it is just divine. I think I've said that 5 times. That's the best way I can describe this dish.
I love listening to you talk about food because you could sit here and look at it and read the description, but when you start talking about those flavors and like the cream and the way that the cheese gets broiled on there, I'm like, man, it's just like, I'm hungry already. And I just ate breakfast. So if that says anything.
Well, I love to eat. I have to always have. That's why I have this job, is I love to eat. I'll always be on a diet because I love to eat. Speaking of not being on a diet, if you love a fried chicken biscuit, you have to go downtown on a Saturday or Sunday to Comeback Coffee to the Kinfolk pop-up. So Cole Jeans is a chef here in Memphis, and he makes the best biscuits I've ever eaten in my entire life. And he tried to start Kinfolk as a business years ago. If you remember when Puck Food Hall first opened, I think it was called at the time 409 South Main Food Hall, or he was one of the original vendors in there, and he was doing biscuit sandwiches. And then that concept kind of went through the the food hall went through some changes, so he left there and he went to go work for Jimmy Gentry, that owns owned P.O. Press, which was a restaurant in Collierville. And he was the sous chef there, and he ran the brunches, and he had these biscuits back on the brunch. And so we got to have those biscuits again for a little while. And then P.O. Press closed. And it's been a couple of years, and those biscuits are back. And I have to tell you, they're like a Southern biscuit, but made kind of has like a French style. It has herbs de Provence in it. And what he does is he cooks the biscuit. And the only reason I really know what he does is he sold some of these at the holidays frozen that people could take home and bake themselves. And so what you do is you bake the biscuit, which has a ton of butter in it. It's so rich and so good. And then what you do is he brushes the top with a honey butter and puts it in a really high temperature in the oven. So it gives it this kind of like almost like caramelized top to the biscuit. So the biscuits alone are fabulous, but just like the folks at Good Fortune Company, he has given a lot of love to a piece of chicken to make this fried chicken that goes on this biscuit so good. He marinates it. He uses chicken thighs, so they're a little bit richer. Fries it till it's crispy. He has his own spicy honey kind of sauce that he tosses it in. The sandwich also comes with a little smear of, he calls it Kinfolk sauce, which is kind of like I guess his play on a Southern comeback sauce. And it is just so, so good. And one of these things that when you're looking at this picture of him holding this, he has in his other hand this salad looking thing that is not really a salad. It is his breakfast bowl that has like hash browns and an omelet and a biscuit and greens on top, and that's an over-the-top breakfast dish that you should try as well. But here's the deal with Kinfolk. It's only on Saturday and Sunday mornings at Comeback Coffee over in the Pinch District. Check times to see when they start. I think they start at 8 or 9 in the morning, depending on which day, but they go till they sell out, and a lot of times they're sold out by noon.
Yeah,
so
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, it's really, really good. And he does some sweet biscuits too, and he has a whole menu that you can try, but the fried chicken biscuit was a standout for me. It looks
delicious. Yeah, I'd want a nap after eating it, though. I would, after eating the heaviness, I'd be like, I think I want to take a nap. But just looking at that biscuit, though, like you were describing with the honey, how he puts the honey on top and then, really gets it all crispy on the top. Because I was wondering, I was like, how does he make it look like that? But it's that butter and kind of that caramelization that happens there. And it looks amazing. Amazing.
It is. I keep joking with him, he needs to sell them commercially because they're so good. It's a biscuit like you've never had. And in fact, I will tell you, so this year I served him for Thanksgiving, as I did on my Thanksgiving table. And then I made my own, which I make every year. I make these pimento cheese biscuits, drop biscuits that I serve. My family all loves them. That's my Christmas brunch recipe. And my mom goes, we should have gotten some of those biscuits that we drove downtown to go pick up. I was like, oh, Mom.
You're like, oh, stabbed to the heart. But no, they look delicious.
That's
they look
okay.
So good.
They're worth it.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
So the last one on my list is, there are menu items that have been on forever on restaurants, and there are a reason they're on forever. And I have a funny story why I've never had this. I'm going to talk about the shrimp pot sticker at Tsunami. So this has been on the menu for years and years and years. And I eat at Tsunami all the time. It has been a favorite restaurant of my husband and I's, gosh, probably for almost the 20 years it's been open. And, but my husband is allergic to shrimp. So I have never ordered any of their shrimp things all these years. And this summer, my sister was in town, and we went and we met up at the bar at Tsunami to have a cocktail, and she ordered the shrimp pot stickers. And I was like, oh, I've never had these before. And she goes, how have you never had these before? They're my favorite. And I went, I don't know. And I took a bite, and I was like, oh, how have I never had these before? And I have to tell you, the next time I went, I told Paul, I go, I'm ordering this and I'm eating it myself. Sorry. What I love about these shrimp pot stickers is that they're light, and they're kind of like, you can tell that they're made with freshness and they're made from scratch. And there's a little bit of spice in the shrimp mixture, and they're hand formed, and they're steamed, and they have a ponzu dipping sauce, and everything is just made from scratch. There's no heaviness like sometimes you get at Asian restaurants. They're just a really nice starter, or in the case I've done once or twice now since I've had them, is they've been my main course when I've gone in. They're really, really, really good. And here's one, it's one of those dishes too that Ben Smith, who's the owner at Tsunami, says that he cannot take off the menu because he knows that people would be all upset with them. But they actually ended up on the menu as a fluke. He always loved pot stickers and dumplings, and he had done some special dinner and he had leftover shrimp, and they used to have a pork version on the menu. And so he experimented one day with the shrimp ones, and everyone loved them so much they stuck. And I mean, that's been over a decade. And he said he knows that if he took them off the menu, everyone would be upset.
Yeah, they'd say forget about it. They'd be demanding it back, petitioning to have those back on the menu. I don't know how you did it, but you dwindled it down to 5 bites that all look delicious. And by the way, did you have a good New Year's? How was it?
We had a great New Year. So we always go, my husband is a big fly fisherman, so we always go to Heber Springs with a bunch of friends, and had just a really nice friends and family weekend. So it was good. How about you?
Same. We actually went to Hardy, Arkansas, and got to hang out with a group of friends that all met us over there, and we had a really good time. It's right off a lake, so we enjoyed it. We had a really good time, and the weather was nice, so I couldn't complain. Couldn't complain at all. So yeah, it was good. It was good. So if people,
awesome.
I'm sorry.
Hey, I have a request to you for anyone that wants to give me any suggestions of things I need to try this year in 2023 so they can be on this list next year.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure you're going to get all kinds of suggestions because there's so many options here in town. But people that were maybe watching, they were like, man, my mouth's watering. I want to make sure I know where to go to get these. This story is on commercialappeal.com, correct?
It is commercialappeal.com/food. All of my stories are always there. So definitely check it out.
Awesome. Well, Jennifer, love having you on as always, and we'll see you next time, all right?
Happy New Year.
See ya. Happy New Year.